Hello, good afternoon once again. This is very important video in continuation to video number 4 about research methods, and in the previous video I talked about introduction to research. Now in this video I would like to talk about types of research, and researches have been classified into different types. Now we are going to talk about 4 types of researches. What are they? Historical research, correlation research, descriptive research, and experimental research. Now let me discuss one by one. Number 1 is historical research. The name itself says historical, means going into the past. It is done to find facts related to past. It's called historical research. Child learning, for example, child learning during 15th, child rearing, not learning, child rearing, and development activities for the children at that time. And to know it, and data is collected from relevant sources. That is, once data is collected, it is analyzed and reported. It is used for comparative study and how children were or have been reared, brought up over the years from 15th century to present time. So when we see it in historical perspective, means as to what happened some time back and how it was done, and now how it is being done. So we see it in historical perspective, historical view. Now coming to correlation research. So the name itself says relating to. Correlation means relating to two variables. Here, what does it mean? And actually it is done to know any relationship or any relation between two qualities. And qualities, in the sense, in research language, they are called variables. Qualities of child and parents' qualities. Definitely, parents' qualities have bearing, impact, influence on child's qualities, and it cannot be ruled out. Now, it's also conducted to study relationship of child's locality in, and also language development. Language development means what kind of environment, what kind of locality, what kind of area child was born into, and how is it contributing to child's language development. Here two variables. What is the relationship of child's locality and language development of child. If child was born in a language rich environment, automatically its influence is felt in the child's development of language. And it is also studied, it is also taken up to study relationship between parenting and academic achievement of child. So what kind of care, what kind of importance parents give as part of rearing to child's education, child studies. So these are the aspects we have under correlation research, means two variables we have find, and influence of two variables. Change in the first variable is automatically felt change in the first variable causes change in the second variable. And when we study the relationship under this research methods, what do we study? We study the relationship between whether the qualitative change in one variable has any effect or relation on any relation with the second variable. Means the change in the first variable has any change, or it can influence any change in the second variable. When qualitative behavior of variable 1 is known, we can assume second behavior of second variable. And if parents have abnormal behavior, definitely its effect is felt or seen, noticed in their kids, and that cannot be ruled out. Now coming to the descriptive research. What does descriptive research mean? It mainly focuses on what of the problem, not why. And descriptive itself says simply it describes the problem and it doesn't look into why the problem is, but what does it do? It looks into what is the problem. And that is why, for example, child's learning abilities if it is the subject for research, then the problem is how and what are the major aspects that have impact on child's abilities or child's learning attitudes. See how they have changed these days. And if this problem is studied, and how research is conducted, differences in learning attitudes and abilities of students, and in the wake of globalization, nucleus families, working parents, private management schools, electronic gadgets, video games, and also addiction to electronic gadgets. That's very, very important. And what is studied? How they have impact on child's learning levels, child's abilities, and child's attitudes. So this is because of explosion of knowledge, not explosion of wisdom. Means our education is giving knowledge, not wisdom. We are suffering from knowledge and we get only result from wisdom, only benefits we get from wisdom, and but not disadvantages. So how does this kind of knowledge without wisdom can influence the child? It influences the child in all aspects, mentally, socially, physically, emotionally, morally, spiritually. So as I said, this method mainly deals with what of the problem and why of the problem we should try to know. See, now move on to and we will discuss it in the experimental research. And to get information under this method, what do? We conduct case study, surveys, observations, and anecdotal records, reflective journals. So these are the means for conducting conducting descriptive research. Now coming to experimental research, and it is totally analytical description, and it is done in a carefully controlled situation. In this method, researcher controls variables used in the research, and after controlling, what does he do? He observes changes. What are changes? Changes in the form of results with complete and utmost objectivity. And here objectivity is given more importance. subjectivity is not important. Control over variables is very, very important. So these are the key points in this method. Another key point is that is why this method is widely used in psychological methods. This method is based on J.S. Mill, means John Stuart Mill, the law of single variable. So this is about different types of researches in the first chapter.